throw it to you for the additions.
President Rice, and that's Assistant President. That's me,
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Committee of Council, September the 6th. Before we get to the approval of agenda, I'm going to throw it over to the clerk, Peter Fay, for the changes to the agenda. Peter?
Members of committee, members of the public watching or in attendance today. For today's Committee of Council agenda, there are the following changes. In regard to item 4.1, which is an announcement regarding Rogers Hometown Hockey on March 10th to 11th, 2018, there is an additional slide. So the announcement and the presentation has been revised and provided to members of council. In regard to item 7.1.1 and 7.2.1, in regard to the proposed investment strategy for the university and Center for Education, Innovation, and Collaboration, there are two delegations. Delegation 5.2 from Wesley Jackson, a Brampton resident, as well as there is an added delegation from Sarah Singh, who is a founding director of Broadening Horizons and a PhD candidate at Ryerson University. In addition, there is item 7.4.1 related to the university matter, which is correspondence in the form of an email from Eloa Donor, a Brampton resident, dated September 5th, 2017. In regard to item 8.2.3, which is a report from staff on the summary of the meetings of the 2017 Association of Municipalities of Ontario Annual Conference, there is a presentation from Lowell Reuben Vaughn from Government Relations Office at the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer. And finally, in regard to item 11, which is Government Relations Matters, there is a presentation distributed to members this morning from the Office of the CAO in regard to this item. Those are the changes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. At approval of agenda, anybody would like to add anything to the agenda? Then you can't add anything. I'm sorry.
No, it's not sure.
Councillor Bowman.
I would like to add an announcement, I guess it would be 4.2, from Joe Asensio of Be Jazzed.
Okay. Councillor Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add an in-camera item on a property matter. I have not had a chance to speak with legal, but I have spoken with the clerk, who has given tentative approval, pending a conversation with legal.
Okay, is there anybody else? Seeing none, so Councillor Bowman's item is 5.4, correct? 4.2. And Councillor Moore's 13.2, subject to city solicitor approval. Councillor Fortini, you move agenda. All in favor? Carries. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest on the Municipal Act? Seeing none. Consent agenda. Would anybody like to add, delete anything from consent? Councillor Bowman, you move the consent agenda. All in favor? That kind of carries. Carry. Under announcements, item 4.1, announcement Rogers Hometown Hockey. The council sponsor of this is our Mayor Jeffrey. We'll be hearing from Bob Darling, Director of Economic Development and Culture. He'll be here to make a presentation. Mayor Jeffrey, speak after. Bob, the jersey's all yours.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, members of council. It's an extremely exciting day in Brampton today, and I have Laura Kwiatkowski with us, the Manager of Tourism and Special Events. And I'd like to turn it over to Laura to make the special announcement about hometown hockey in Brampton.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, Madam Mayor and members of council. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here this morning to share with you that the City of Brampton has been selected as one of 24 communities as part of the Rogers Hometown Hockey 2017-2018 tour. An official announcement was made this morning at 7:40 a.m. And for those of you who are not familiar with Rogers Hometown Hockey, it's a really fabulous nationwide event that not only celebrates hockey, but brings fundraising opportunities to our community, as well as a pre-game broadcast in addition to a number of other activations. We all know that Brampton is a hockey town, and Rogers Hometown Hockey will provide us with an opportunity to celebrate the game and, more importantly, our community. The economic impact of this two-day event is projected to be up to $1 million and will provide local businesses with a chance to benefit. Additionally, as you can see on the host map, there is a tremendous tourism opportunity to promote the event beyond Brampton's borders. So we're right there in the middle, which is a wonderful place to be on that map. Ron McLean and Tara Sloan, hosts of the pre-game broadcast that will live air from our own will air live, from Garden Square. I hope they do better than I am right now. We'll take Brampton into the homes of approximately 1 million hockey fans from coast to coast, allowing Brampton to truly shine on the national stage. Hometown Hockey also provides an opportunity to bring the entire community together to celebrate the city, sports, and culture. A local organizing committee is being put together with representatives from the downtown BIA as well as from the sport and culture communities to plan and support this free and family-friendly event. Our intention is to come back to council to provide updates on Hometown Hockey over the coming months. In the meantime, please make sure that you mark your calendars for March 10th and 11th and get ready to paint the town red. Bob's got his jersey already. And to celebrate all that is amazing about the city of Brampton. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Bob.
So thanks, Laura. And I just want to thank a few people because this is put together in the last 8 weeks. I'd like to thank members of council. You approved on July the 5th us to go forward looking at this. You also approved on August the 9th for us to go forward. I want to thank Mayor Jeffrey for your support to set up the initial meeting. You've been instrumental in working with Rogers, so I want to thank you. My colleagues in the corporate leadership team, I want to thank them as well. Al in Recreation, Derek Boyce in Recreation, Joe and his team in Works. Legal's been instrumental as well. Chris Pratt has been just outstanding with us. So it's really been put together in 8 weeks, a significant event for the city of Brampton, as Laura mentioned, and we're just really excited to be hosting this and looking forward to working with all of council on this. So thank you.
Excellent. Mayor Jeffrey.
So I want to say how nice it is to be finally able to talk about it.
You're right.
When the opportunity first presented itself, I know Bob and I were kind of looking at each other and going, oh my goodness, this is a no-brainer. We absolutely want to have this, and we'd be thrilled to be hosts. But we couldn't talk about it. We kind of had to let everybody do their due diligence. So I'm thrilled that we can finally talk about it. I want to thank the staff for all the work that they did and the discretion they showed in not disclosing too much before we were chosen. We had no doubt we were going to be chosen, but I guess the challenge is the hard work begins now to put on an event that is worthy of Hometown Hockey and Brampton, and we know that our community will come together. We hope it will be a little chilly in March still, because we want to put on a really good event, and certainly we're looking forward to having Tara and Ron here. And I want to thank Bob and his team. I know you worked very, very hard on this, so congratulations to you and to all of the staff that worked on this. Thank you very much, and congratulations to us. Thank you, Chair.
Excellent. This is fantastic. Bob, is there a committee that you guys are planning on striking?
Yes, so after today, we're going to start looking at a committee, as Laura mentioned, with the BIA, with our citizens, our rec groups, and absolutely, we're going to look at our culture groups and put this together, and we'll be getting back and reporting back to council on that. So any interest, please reach out to Laura, and we're going to be starting that as of today.
That's great. If I can make a few suggestions, and you probably have already thought about these people, I'm thinking like the Brampton 45s, other sporting groups that are in Brampton, the Brampton Beast. If we can reach out to Punjabi Hockey as well, to see if we can get them involved. I think
Absolutely.
That would be excellent.
Yes,
Good.
absolutely. Great. Thank
Great.
you.
Mayor Jeffrey, you'll move for receipt of that. All in favor? That carries. The next announcement is going over to Councillor Bowman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I don't see Joe here, is he? Joe's not here, but he dropped this off on my desk yesterday, and it's just a very quick reminder about the World of Jazz Festival 2017, which is happening this Saturday, starting at 1 o'clock in downtown Brampton. There'll be a lot of great venues, a lot of bands playing in various locations. It's on their website, so if you want to go and check that. But this represents a phenomenal musical interlude in downtown Brampton this weekend, so I would hope that everybody would go out and listen to some jazz and visit the local establishments and restaurants that are going to have the players playing in their establishment during the afternoon and evening. So it should be a great event in downtown Brampton, and on behalf of Joe, I hope to see everybody out there.
Great. And are we sending that out via social media through the city of Brampton? Do you know? Are we promoting?
Absolutely, yes. We're working closely with Joe and his team.
Okay. Maybe can we get some information, the councillors, so we can get that out then?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Councillor Bowman, you move receipt of that?
I will.
All in favor? That carries. Next up is delegations. Item 5.1, we have a delegation from Pawnit Basra, Make My City Clean, Litter and Illegal Signs. Pawnit? Oh, come on over to the center stage.
Just stand here in the
Yes, sir.
microphone.
Good morning,
You
everybody.
have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Good morning. I'm Pavneet Basra. So I'm just here to talk about our Brampton City, such a beautiful city, the illegal signs in our Brampton City. So what happened, our MMCC, that's our volunteer team, what we are doing, we're just cleaning the roads, picking up one area, cleaning the roads. But our request to our all councillors and staff of Brampton City, please help us, support us, guide us, how to clean our city and how to make it more beautiful, how to remove all those signs. What happened, I'll just give you a little background about MMCC. I came in Brampton 2001, and it was a very beautiful city, green grass, clean roads, no weeds, no concrete, mixed community, right? Good culture, magic words around here, hello, thank you, please. But within 10 to 15 years, it's all gone. Lots of new immigrants are moving here. I'm from India, please don't mind it. When there's one community, we don't follow 100% the rules, right? We were just living in a kind of, in a world, different world. At the same time, lots of international students are coming in Sheridan College. And in Ray Lawson area, lots of houses are on rent. I think 15 to 20% houses are on rent. There's no communication between owners and tenants. They didn't teach them how to throw the garbage, how to clean the roads, how to cross the roads and stuff like that. So what I thought, okay, let me start. I sent an email to Sheridan College, give me 5 minutes, come and speak to those kids, tell them how to clean this, how to clean the city. But no response. Then I started by myself, cleaning the roads, picking up one area. Within 5 years, from 1, we are 16 now. So we created MMCC, Make My City Clean. So, but I'm really thankful to the enforcement department. I'm sending them emails about the litter and the signs, but they're cleaning, but people are smarter. Those people are smarter than us. If we clean McLaughlin and Queen, they put the sign McLaughlin Steels. If we clean that area, then go to the next door. But we are not authorized people to remove those signs, so we need your support. Please, our councillor, they are our leaders of our wards, they are our representatives. If they have a more communication with the residents and spread a word about our community and have a more community meetings, we will definitely make our city beautiful and clean. That's only my wish and choice, and MMCC wants just make my city clean. That's my choice. Thank you so much. I'm not a speaker. First time in my life I'm speaking in front of so many people. I'm sorry, maybe I use the wrong words, harsh words, so please forgive me, but make my city beautiful. That's my only choice, only wish. Thank you so much.
Excellent job. Excellent.
Thank you, David.
Stay here. We have some questions on the board.
Yes, sir.
Councillor Willens.
Yeah, thank you through you, Chair. Thank you for coming in. As a former chair of the Brampton Clean City Committee, I commend you for what you do, all the work you do. We do have staff here in regards to the illegal signs. That is a problem in Brampton for sure. But we do have staff. I think staff, Joe, or maybe if Paul could come down, maybe or JP, they've got some reports on what they're doing now, and maybe working with them, we can help, because it is a problem in all areas, not just certain areas, it's all areas. It's in our wards 2 and 6 as well, so maybe they have done some, they've got a report that they put together, I think, so maybe this would help.
Yes, sir, but that is true. I'm doing, but I'm telling you, enforcement department is so good. But I don't want to waste your time. Like go this area, clean that area, clean that area. But if we want some kind of rules and regulations, so people should not put a sign at all
Well,
over there.
I think that's what
the
they're,
one we
I think
want.
that's what they're going to bring forward here for
Okay.
you, and maybe help you understand a little bit better. And then maybe you can together work with them and
Yes,
see how we
I
can
will
get this.
definitely, because we want a beautiful city, clean city, so people can say this is Canadian city, because right now it doesn't look like a Canadian city. Please don't mind it. I want a beautiful city. That's it. Green grass, nice roads, happy culture, and all the stuff like that. That's
Very
my
good.
choice.
Well, good, thank you.
But I will definitely contact you, but you let me know what to do next time.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. Morning, Madam Mayor, members of council. I'm JP Maurice. I'm the manager of bylaw enforcement. Thank you for certainly everything you're doing for our city to cleaning up, and that's
First of
certainly
all, I'll
the
say
steps.
thank you, because your enforcement department and your customer service people are so good. Every week they reply my email, because I send 2 to 3 emails, they provide me ticket number and taking care of that signs. But again, it's growing and growing and growing.
So we've done some research. We've looked at the other municipalities to see if, in fact, there was anyone allowing residents to see signs, illegal signs, the small ones that we see on the side of the road. Mississauga is the only city that's authorizing, through an agreement, to allow residents to seize and remove signs off the streets. We've got some concerns with that in terms of risk versus the benefits. There's a number of risk factors that we can certainly outline. Safety of the person removing the signs in terms of traffic. We can see them parking on the streets, going to the boulevard, picking up the sign. We've got some concerns with their safety as they remove. Confrontation with the individuals putting the signs. There they are, someone's putting the signs, next thing you know, someone, a resident like yourself, meeting this individual. It could be a physical confrontation. It's the last thing we want to do. Personal injuries, we're removing it. There's these floppy little signs could end up hurting someone. They're also, the tools are using to remove the signs as well. Chemical to remove it off the utility poles. So there's concerns and risk that we are certainly concerned about allowing the residents to do this at this point. The confusion about what kind of signs, real estate signs, the illegal signs or small signs, which sign are they allowed to do? So if we start to be too specific, it makes it very confusing for the residents as well. In court purposes, so we're going to have to train the residents to take photographs of the signs, taking notes, how to properly articulate the evidence in court if we decide to charge those who are erecting those signs on our city. So there's a number of things that we're looking at. So storage, there's an issue about storage. What do we do with those signs once the resident sees it? We have to keep them for 60 days. What do they do? Are they going to throw it in the garbage, or are they going to turn it over to the city for us to maintain for 60 days? Those are, again, our concerns. So the last 3 years, we've been very effective in seizing signs. Just this year alone, we've seized 17,000 signs. Over the last 5 years, 80,000 signs have been removed off the street. So we've done a tremendous amount of the work removing those signs off the streets. We can certainly continue with our activity. We've got part-time enforcement officers who are working nights, specifically working nights because they are looking at it's safer for them to do it later in the evening. Less traffic, so they can park, easily remove the signs, put in a truck, and bring it back. So we don't want the residents to start doing this during the day. There's too much of a safety concerns and risk to the residents and liability to the city as well. So our position is we don't recommend that residents should be allowed to remove signs on our city. We encourage the residents to report it through a 311 and through the city to make sure that these signs are reported to us so we can go and proactively remove the signs. So that would be our position from a bylaw perspective.
But those signs are not only on the boulevards. Those signs are on the traffic.
We're going to
lights,
go
stop
to
signs,
the,
everywhere.
we're going to go to the next, we have a couple other questions. Thank you, JP. Councillor Sprovieri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Pavanit, for coming here today. It's very brave of you, and also we want to really thank you for what you're doing. There's a lot of people, the vast majority of people in Brampton want to see a clean city. People value cleanliness, and there's a few, of course, there's some people who are not that way minded, and unfortunately you find them everywhere, that they're just litters. it's unfortunate we have those kind of people in our society. But I want to really thank you for taking on the initiative to do the cleanup. And there's a lot of groups, even in Ward 9 and 10, a lot of the seniors are doing the cleanups in the parks where it's safe. And I understand staff's concern about removing signs from the streets and the boulevards where it's not safe. It could be hazardous to the. And most likely, most of your volunteers are probably ladies, most likely from your group. I don't know that, but I'm just assuming that.
And some kids are there, from university kids are
too,
there, yes.
The one question I have for staff is that sometimes we see some of these illegal signs that they're laying on the boulevard, they're lying on the road or on the sidewalk, and I'm just wondering whether that's something, if they're laying there just on the ground, whether that's something that they could be allowed to pick up and instead of going into the middle on the posts or in the middle of the boulevards to remove the signs. But if they're lying there on the sidewalk or on the boulevard, whether it'd be okay to pick up those signs. Can we have a staff address that?
Through the chair, while the director comes down, I think it still gets back to what JP was talking about in terms of there's still a storage issue. There's still some of the liability issues with slip and falls and some of those other risks. Even if they're lying there, some of the risks are in fact eliminated because they're not technically removing the signs and some of the risks associated with that or some of the chemicals that would be required to remove them. However, there are still a number of factors at play even if the signs are just lying there. But I'll let the director further explain that response.
Madam Mayor, Council, just to reiterate what the Commissioner said, we are concerned. If a sign is on the ground, if someone bends down, if it's a rainy day, they could slip. They're flimsy metal signs with poles that are very sharp. So we're very concerned about that. But we'd be pleased if the Council would like to put it back to us, refer it back to us for a complete report. We'll get back.
Yeah, certainly, that would be something to report back, and because you have to give the residents credit for volunteering to do this work, because people are very concerned about their community, they're concerned about their neighborhoods, they want to keep it clean, and it bothers me too when I see these signs pasted all over the place on the posts and the boulevards. I've seen people actually sticking them in the ground, and we have to find a way to discourage that from happening. I really, it's great that residents are actually want to take action in their own hands to resolve the problem. So it's a very serious issue to some people and to most people, and
Absolutely.
So we have to find a way to resolve this problem.
Absolutely.
To discourage.
We're happy to come back with a full report.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Poveri. I do have a referral, but before I go to the referral, I'll go to Councilor Dillon.
Thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate the work that you do. I think what you're doing is reflective of a lot of Bramptonians, a lot of different communities as well. Particularly in our area, I can speak for Councilor Spovieri, we see people from different communities, different backgrounds, a lot of our seniors as well. They take cleanliness very serious, and one thing I commend the city on is that we provide them some of those materials sometimes at no charge, and when we work together with our residents to keep our city clean, everybody wins. And there's a lot of the times different community groups, whether they're from different country or whether from a different culture or language, but I think everybody has cleanliness at the front of their I guess you could say the front of their mind, and so keeping our city clean is important for everybody. But what you do, I commend you. I can't thank you enough, and you're making our city look beautiful. Thanks so much.
I just need your support. If you guide us, right. We want our community to grow a little bigger. Yeah, 16 people cannot do the whole city.
No, absolutely.
Thank you, Councilor Willens.
Yeah, just quickly, have you contacted staff for supplies? Are they supplying you with the bags and the gloves?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Michelle,
good.
we are working with Michelle Robinson.
Oh,
She's
perfect,
such a
good.
great girl.
Okay, good.
And she's helping us a lot. Yes, we are
Okay.
working with her.
Okay, good. I want to make sure that they were. Okay,
I know
good.
lots of people's name in from city because they're helping me. Only
Excellent.
have one issue because some signs on Brampton bus stops. So I don't know where to contact. I contact Brampton Transit for those remove those basement signs and school signs and blah blah. And they said contact enforcement. So enforcement said so I don't know where to contact. I know Realtor pay maybe Transit to put their signs, but still people put their signs on top of their sign. That is very shame. So I don't like those signs too.
I think maybe a question to Alex then. Do our guys that clean the transit terminals, do they remove those signs on a daily basis when they're doing or a weekly basis?
Yes, through the chair, our facilities people through the shelter cleaning program that we have every so often when we clean every shelter, what happens is they remove all the signs that are out there and they also report the sign if there's a name and number to enforcement to follow up on. So we help with that process as well.
Okay, good. So I guess that'll come back in the report from staff as well. Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Councillor Miles.
Just one comment to Pomni. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If we had more citizens in you, we wouldn't we wouldn't have a problem. But I think one of the things that Pavneet has raised is the issue about community education.
Yes.
And when we started doing Clean City Committee a number of years ago with community cleanups, there was a lot of hype and communication in the media and to the residents about keeping the city clean. And it's been some time has passed since we initiated this program, and I really do think that there is a need for more community education, more marketing around keeping the city clean. At the same time that we launched Brampton as Flower City, won international awards for communities in bloom. A lot of what we were doing was beautification, community pride, and keeping our city clean. And I really think it's a focus that we as a municipality really need to take seriously. So I would like to, at some point, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the city manager, have a discussion about this whole concept of a Flower City, what it means, community beautification, litter cleanup, and just building a stronger sense of pride in the community, because I find it really disheartening. I walk my dog and there'll be a garbage can and not a foot away is litter, and you just go, why wouldn't they just put it in the garbage can? So I do think we have there are a lot of opportunities in the community for us to do some work around this. I think we might have representatives from Sheridan College here today, and certainly the opportunity to go and do some education in our colleges, in our schools is it's there. We just need to take the initiative and do it. So. Thank you very much. You're a wonderful public speaker, and maybe we could get you on our public speaking rotunda for doing this.
Thank you.
So that's something I will follow up on.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you, Pani, very
Thank
much
you,
for
too.
coming.
Thank
We
you.
have here a referral of the delegation, Make My City Clean, to staff for investigation and report back to committee. It's been moved by Councilor Medeiros. All in favor? That carries.
Is there an opportunity to couple with this motion a request for a report to take a look at a campaign or something around beautification?
I think staff are going to take that as
litter
direction when they
prevention?
report back. They'll
Can we
report
do that
back on
rather than, okay,
as well.
good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before I move on, I'm going to take a step back, if council's okay. Joe Asensio just came, and I'd like him to come down and speak to a little bit more of the jazz, the World of Jazz 2017. So we're going to go back to item 4.2. Joe, I'm going to give you 3 minutes.
I appreciate that. I've prepared some notes because my ability to say this spontaneously would probably come out wrong. So I'll introduce myself. My name is Joe Asensio. I'm the Executive Director of Be Jazzed. and the broker of record of Jay and Asensio Realty. On behalf of myself and my business partner, Carmen Spada, and Be Jazzed, I want to thank you all personally for granting us the opportunity to bring to Brampton what will be the best jazz festival this city has ever seen, and I promise that. Thanks to the Community Grant Program, the support of city staff, and the cooperation and partnership of the Downtown BIA, we're positioned to bring a day of entertainment to downtown Brampton and to help promote our great city, not just to local residents, but to many living outside our borders. Don't know why I'm so nervous. Both Carmen and myself and our staff have worked tirelessly to ensure that the quality and caliber of the performers will be the best this city has produced and will continue to produce. Over 60% of the performers of World of Jazz are either originally from or currently residing in Brampton. Promoting local talent was important and continues to be important to us. Highlights a healthy and vibrant jazz community in the city, and Be Jazzed is happy to be able to offer these musicians a platform on which to showcase their art. When we were selected as a recipient of the Community Grant Program, we felt honored to represent Brampton in the eyes of the jazz community, and we wanted to do our city proud. Our marketing plan included extending beyond the Brampton borders and the Brampton audience, and we were happy and are currently featured on 2 jazz radio stations, Jazz FM 91 and 94.7 The Wave, as well as on many social media and print media outlets. I'm humbled by the fact that 15 corporate sponsors stepped up and committed financial support to our brand new initiative in the city of Brampton. Be Jazzed isn't a one-hit wonder. We're here to stay. We will curate performances, cultivate musicians, and conduct clinics and master classes across the city. We've already started to do this. We've done all we can as a non-for-profit to promote, curate, and present a fantastic day of diverse music. Now we're looking to you. City Council, regional councilors, staff, all of you, even guests in the attendance today. We need one last bit of support to bring this thing to fruition. Please share our pages. Hashtag World of Jazz, or look up our site, worldofjazz.ca. Share it across your social media portals. But even more important than that, support us by being in attendance. Be proud of the artistic merit of your own constituents. But most importantly, be jazzed.
That's it. Excellent, Joe. Great job. Hang around, Joe. We got a couple questions. Councilor Williams.
I just want to quickly say thank you, Joe. I know Carmen Spada, I know him quite well, and he's been talking about this for probably 3 or 4 years. So it's great you guys finally got it off the ground, and I know this will continue to grow, and I know it's going to be a great event.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Councilor Medeiros.
Through the chair, thank you, Joe, notwithstanding bringing such a festival and working with staff and making that investment, taking that risk, but really promoting the city of Brampton. Just, I guess, for future, and I guess part of my comment, as we go forth, is this something that you'd like to, because it was amazing talking to you in Brampton Farmers Market, and the festival was one component, but the educational component, in which you talked about leaving that legacy, working with youth, trying to attract youth to jazz and so on. Is this something that you plan on continuing and really building here at the city?
Absolutely. We are committed to exist, not just be, once a year show up for a festival or for a party and that's it. We are currently holding classes where we are teaching and educating musical students on jazz composition and harmonics development. So these are things that they don't teach at the Royal Conservatory level. We're teaching them outside the box thinking, how to enhance or take their musical talents to the next level. And this is something we're committed to. We're looking for a location where we can set up regular schools to conduct this. We're promoting it through our own media to get the word out there. We've started to, and this is why we're advertising through the radio stations. We need to attract an audience even larger than just Brampton itself. So we're here to stay as an institution. We want to become part of the city's art activity, the musical arts activity, and we will help to promote anyone who has a talent that they want to bring forth.
Through the chair, and this is just an example of what I think the grants program was intended to do, this type of collaboration, the fact that we can go to a private entity, work with the stakeholder, have them be successful, spread this, and really just shows the return on investment and the type of collaboration that exists. So this is really a great model to go forth, and hopefully, we'll see other type of activities and other events, and the fact that you've really dynamized the arts sector, something that we really wanted to do to Brampton, so just personally thank you for your investment, and certainly I know council will support you in terms of the social media, but thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much all.
Excellent, thank you. Madam Mayor.
I love the fact that you want us to be cool. The cool factor is very important to me. I had to really dig through your press release to find out what time it starts. So it's 1:30 in the afternoon, right after the farmers market?
Officially 1:30 because although we are running program right from 10:30 in the morning onward through the market, that program was always intended just to sort of warm up the space and warm up the audience so that they get a feel of what's coming. We can't activate during the market. That would not have worked.
No.
So we have a 1:30, provided everybody's out, a 1:30 official start at the...
musicians get up a little later, don't they, usually? They're nice.
Yeah, we did want to have a 10 to 12:30, but we found we can't wake the musicians up early enough, so 10:30 was the best we could do.
And they don't go to sleep early, so I'm thinking...
And they don't go to sleep. And by all means, at 11 o'clock, we end at the square, but jazzers don't go to sleep. We just go to another party. So we're going over to Wendell Clark's. There are 2 floors, and we've prepared entertainment there to go all night until their license runs out, I suppose, their beer license. Or their beer.
So I'm happy to come. I have about 3 events that day, but I will definitely show up because I want to be around cool people, and it sounds like it's going to be a wonderful event. And thank you for your leadership on this.
I hope we get to see you all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Chair.
Thank you, Joe. # World of Jazz. Before we move on, we have a late delegate that would like to be added. I need to get 2/3 vote to reopen the agenda for J. Paul Massey Singh, who would like to delegate on the university. All in favor? That carries. J. Paul will be item 5.4. Before I go to the delegations on the universities, I'm going to finish up with my section and then pass it over to Councillor Bowman. So are there any questions on community services? Seeing none, I'd like to pass the chair over to Councillor Bowman.
All right. That's a movement of seats. Okay. Chandra's okay? Okay. Okay, so welcome to the Economic Development and Culture section. We have a staff presentation today and a staff report. The presentation is item 7.11, and we will also bring forward 7.21, which is the report. Staff presentation from Bob Sagan, Advisor, Office of the Chief Administrative Officer, Michelle McCollum, Senior Manager, Strategic Development, Office of the Chief Economic Advisor, and Paul Aldunate, Expediter, Economic Culture, Proposed Investment Strategy for University and Center for Education, Innovation, and Collaboration. So what we'll do, Mr. Clerk, is we will have the presentations, we will save questions and concerns, we'll do the delegations, and then we will have all the questions after that. Okay, so that's the agenda that we will be following today. So, Mr. Sagan, you are there, or Mr. Schlang is going to give an
Thank
overview
you,
first.
Chair and members of council. I thought I'd do a quick introduction before I pass it over to Bob and Michelle and the team who've done all the work
I'm just here for the looks, but some people would question that as well. But I just wanted to say that this opportunity like this doesn't come very often to a municipality. We've been so excited about the project and the effort, and you really will see the amount of work that's gone behind this with our partners, with Michelle and the team, and Bob, when they present to you. But I wanted to talk to you about maybe three things. One is transformation. This council has a vision that talks about innovation, being bold, and being inclusive. And this council has demonstrated this. It was a year ago today that we did one of the most major transformations of a municipality in Canada. In fact, the Globe and Mail said that this is something other Canadian cities should emulate. You had the courage. We transformed the internal organization. We're well on our way to become much more nimble, much more flexible, and more business-like as an internal organization. But this opportunity is a bigger transformation. It transforms our downtown, it transforms our city, and it transforms the way that education is delivered. We're calling it post-education 2.0. So this opportunity is much bigger and has more of an impact to so many more people. This investment that you can make in youth is the most important investment that you can ever make in getting our youth employed into the workforce. So transformation, you've demonstrated that, and you'll be a big leader as we make this next courageous decision in transforming the community. The other is sending a message to other levels of government from this report, that thinking bigger. There's nothing, all of us that are working on this, and this sends a signal to the government that we're thinking much bigger of the 1,000 students 10 years, 25 years, 50 years from now. This commitment puts us in a position of strength with other levels of government, that you're putting skin in the game, jointly with our partners to move this forward. If you can imagine 50 years ago when Sheridan started in Brampton, 1967, 350 students. They're now, 50 years later, at 23,000 students, 11,000 in Brampton, with an economic impact of $1 billion of the region of Peel and Halton. This is the kind of decision that you'll be making for the future. Yesterday at a design charrette with over 50 people, mainly from Ryerson, mainly Sheridan and education, or boards of education. No one's thinking of just the immediate 1,000 students. Everybody's planning for the future and something much bigger. The president of Ryerson said, he's so excited about being in now two of the largest cities in Canada in the top 10. And Ryerson is a city builder. 43,000 students, if you look at what they've developed in the Metro Toronto, and that opportunity to work with us to move Brampton forward. So sending a message, thinking bigger about Brampton. And the third thing is, good things don't come easy. This is a tough decision. If it was easy, this would have been done already. There would already be a university in our city. So we respect council that this is not a minor investment, it's a significant investment, but it has a tremendous impact. And if you look back, when we look back 25 years, in the future, or 50, this is the council that has made this historic decision to really change the city of Brampton and provide opportunities for our youth. So I think we're proud to be part of this. And just remember, Sheridan started at 50 years ago. So, this is an opportunity to really build something special for our city. So now I'll pass it on to those that did all the work. Thank you.
Michelle?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Mayor, and members of committee. Before we start this morning, we probably will go over the 5-minute limit, so if committee will indulge us to have some extra time this morning. Thank you. Secondly, we have some very important guests in our council chamber this morning, which I would like to introduce. Could everyone from Ryerson University and Sheridan College please stand? From Ryerson University, President Mohammed Lashimi, Mohammed Dinani, John McRitchie, and Joanna Vandermaas. And from Sheridan College, President Mary Priest, Brian Jervis, John Helliker, and Alvin Tedjo. Thank you. Mr. Chair, we are delighted, Bob Segan, Paul Aldinati and I, to be here today to present you with a proposed investment strategy into a university and a centre for education, innovation and collaboration. The report that we are presenting you with today asks for your endorsement. In principle, in an investment of up to $50 million to support Ryerson University and their college partner Sheridan. It also proposes an endorsement in principle of a greater investment of up to $100 million in a centre for education, innovation and collaboration. And I want to be very clear that the proposal is this would be a city-owned facility and a city-operated facility anchored by a new downtown library. An awe-inspiring and tremendous new asset and a well-needed new resource in our downtown. This is an investment by our community, for our community, and for our businesses and for our entrepreneurs. The city has for some time now had a vision to bring a university, and it has also over the years aspired to do more to really reignite our downtown. And it's really exciting that Ryerson University are looking to locate in downtown Brampton, so this opportunity brings both of those aspirations together. A word about our partners. Ryerson University, known for city and community building, has grown dramatically over the last 10 years in a significant area in the downtown Toronto and really transformed Toronto. It's renowned for its innovative zone learning, an incredible reputation as the most applied to university in Ontario. And Sheridan College, with 23,000 full-time, 3,600 part-time and 15,000 continuing education students, Sheridan is creative, is innovative and is award-winning. A leader in the post-secondary world and proud to have its largest campus, the Davis campus, here in Brampton for the last 50 years. So you can see that both of these institutions are a really great fit for the city of Brampton. And just to echo some of the comments that Harry's made, and today's an important day for me personally as well. And what's been really refreshing for me over the past couple of years working closely with this council is the leadership that you have shown, and being bold and being future ready. And today is really an opportunity to take the work you've done, to take the aspirations and turn them into reality. You're aware of the history of the project, and back in October 2016, the provincial announcement that $180 million would be invested in both Milton and Brampton. And in March, that all-important announcement that Ryerson University had submitted an expression of interest in establishing a new university presence in Brampton together with Sheridan College. At the beginning of October, Ryerson has to submit final details of their proposal to the province of Ontario. But before this happens, President Lashamy must take the proposal to his Board of Governors. So it's very important ahead of that this committee signals and Council signals Brampton's commitment to the success of this project. So what's been happening over the last few months? Well, as you know, we've been here very regularly giving you updates and making sure that you're aware of all the up-to-date information. A steering committee with the partners meets regularly to discuss all the different aspects of the project. Within the city and our community partners, we are continuing our engagement meetings to make sure that the whole Brampton community is ready to support this university coming. We are very much maintaining alignment with our strategic plan and game-changing initiatives, which have a much stronger case with a university in town. And we're also staying very connected with Larry Beasley and the planning vision team to make sure that everything we do is absolutely connected to that vision. And yesterday, as Harry mentioned, we had an excellent day, a design charrette, where we had the visionary leaders from Ryerson and Sheridan, from our community partners, together in one room. And there is real recognition of the opportunity that is in front of us right now. And there is absolute commitment. This is a once-in-a-generation time to do something for Brampton that is truly incredible and truly transformational.
For examples of awe-inspiring institutions and developments along the lines that we are envisioning for our investment, consider the following. In Kitchener, it's about transformation and spurring investment. Standing at the corner outside Communitech, you can see the University of Waterloo School of Pharmacy and the Health and Life Sciences campus. You can see incubation, acceleration, a new Google building, new higher order transit lines and residential development all within one block. The McMaster University Innovation Park in Hamilton is meant to align with and leverage the research strengths of McMaster University. It has the ambitious vision of housing 10 buildings which will house 1,500 employees within the next 10 years and provide 1.7 million square feet of office, research, and amenity space. To date, the Innovation Park has generated $18.6 million to the Hamilton economy and over $250,000 in tax revenues. The Ryerson Student Learning Centre in Toronto is an inspiring space open to anyone from the community. No one is turned away, all are welcome. The Student Learning Centre is dedicated to providing students with new spaces to study, collaborate, share ideas, and learn outside the classroom. Well, in terms of libraries, we have the opportunity to reinvent Brampton's cultural image. Libraries represent the collision space between the university, the community, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Consider the Hunt Library in North Carolina State University is an iconic space well designed by the same architects who did the Ryerson Student Learning Center. It is 230,000 square feet facility meant to encourage collaboration, reflection, and creativity. The Central Library in Halifax represents a stunning collaboration between all levels of government. In addition to a large collection of books, the 129,000 square foot facility features meeting rooms and study rooms, technology areas for computers, cafes, and a 300-seat auditorium. It is a catalyst for downtown renewal and drew over 200 million visitors within its first year of operation.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Michelle. Now, Council, the city investment, and as both Harry and Michelle and Paul have set the stage, we are looking and proposing, in principle, an investment strategy of up to $150 million over a multi-year period, which will be subject to a certain number of conditions and verification of commitments. You will note that the first part is up to $50 million over 10 years to Ryerson University to implement and develop their new facility in coordination with us and in coordination with Sheridan. The second stage, second part, is up to $100 million over a few years in a city-led, as Michelle said, investment for a center for education, innovation, and collaboration. That will be in the same general area as the new Ryerson University, providing a sense of a campus for the first sets of students as they move back and forth. This, we believe, with cooperation with your decision today, with our partners from Ryerson and Sheridan and others, will provide them, Ryerson, when they submit to the province, a compelling case for the province to both approve and set the stage for new investments by both the governments and private sector investors over time. Finally, we're looking to provide a report back to you on, as the commitments come forward, an update on the economic impact analysis, on the financing options, on the any new information we can gather as the time goes forward, and develop an MOU that will set out the roles, responsibilities, set out the activities that we'll be doing together, and also outline the results and outcomes that we expect and want to see achieved. The return on investment. This is, as Harry said, this is a key, and Michelle said, it's a key investment for you. It's also going to have substantial benefits. What you see here is the base case provided by Urban Metrics. We've hired Urban Metrics to take this base case and expand it, revise it, update it, given that we now have a second partner in this new investment, given that we're taking a look at innovation and commercialization, which we did not look at the first stage, and also looking with our partners at Brampton Library how we have a new joint use facility that can also bring additional benefits. So this information will be updated over the next month or so. It'll also be added by recent information by the Council of Ontario Universities that universities in total provide $115 billion annually to this province. We will become another part of that sense. And finally, this proposed investment strategy will fulfill, as Michelle noted, your vision, your strategic plan. It'll help the downtown core. It'll also help with the sustaining jobs and prosperity that we hope for our city and our citizens. This proposed investment strategy will, make sure I get my words right here, firmly place this city as a lead partner with Ryerson and Sheridan. It will signal to all partners that you are committed, the city is committed to being bold, innovative, and inclusive. It will also signal and place us inside as a key center and a key partner in the Innovation Super Corridor with this kind of investment and follow-on investments we anticipate to happen. And finally, we'll be working with the private sector to take advantage of these opportunities to see that these economic opportunities are met, established, the experiential learning is there, the business community is ready, and our partners are ready with the next generation of students as they come forward. But finally, I want to speak to, this is an important investment for you, as Harry and Michelle and Paul noted. It transforms the downtown, which has been a long time desire of this council. It allows you over time to transform the city. And with our partners, Ryerson and Sheridan, and future partners, you have a singular choice today, a singular decision to invest in the greatest resource you have, the people of Brampton. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. Again, we'll receive the delegations. We'll bring forward the report, 7.2.1 for discussion, and I've noted everybody who's on the board, but we will receive the delegations right now. Once the delegations are finished, then we'll go to questions of everybody, including the delegations. So we will move to, I guess, 5.2 delegation, Mr. Wesley Jackson. Now, before you start, Mr. Jackson, everybody has the overheads or the slides on their desk, and it's quite a hefty package. So normally you would have 5 minutes, but do you think you're going to be able to keep it within 5 minutes, or would you like some extra time? We may as well do it now so you don't interrupt the presentation.
Security may have to knock me out to shut me up, but that's fine. I'll go as quickly as I can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor of giving him an extra few minutes if required? Carries, thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Madam Mayor, members of council, members of the public, members of city staff. I was introduced as a Brampton resident. I just want to add a bit of context. I'm also a Brampton business owner. I had the conversation with Brampton Economic Development a few years ago. My numbers may be out of date, but at the time there were more or less 8,500 businesses in Brampton, and there were more or less 500 of them located in downtown. That means that I am a business owner who belongs to part of the 94%. And the reason why I'm here today is to stand up for that 94%, because we haven't been consulted. For the record, as early as March 3rd, I've been in these council meetings, I've been emailing city staff, saying, when is our opportunity to talk about a location for this campus? I just want to be clear up front. I don't actively oppose a downtown location, but my request here today is that when you receive the staff report, it's with the express caveat that nothing about receiving the report handcuffs this city to build this campus in downtown Brampton. And I'm going to explain, not only because 94% of businesses aren't as located in downtown Brampton, but we're going to go through some examples here. And this is what my presentation is all about. This is about opportunities, but it's about opportunities for all of Brampton. Not just the 6% of businesses that you can see when you look out the window. And I get a little bit frustrated as a business owner. My business is Queen and Rutherford. I can cut through a hole in a fence and get to the rubble that used to be a very busy Kelsey's restaurant. And I invite all of you to join me one day for lunch in the rubble of Kelsey's and tell me that this government is equally investing in all the business locations of Brampton, as opposed to just downtown Brampton. There are parts of this city, entire business districts in the city, that are left to rot with absolutely no investment by the city. Whereas downtown Brampton, we got the Rose, we have Garden Square, we have the Farmers Market, we have the Santa Claus Parade, big hullabaloo about how we're going to get the LRT into downtown Brampton. Not a word of what we're going to do at Queen and 410, which, as we're going to get to in a minute, is actually the geographic center of our city. With all that said, I want to return to my original point. I'm not opposed to a downtown Brampton location. For example, I think the old skate factory would be a great location for a university campus. If we analyze the options, if we have the discussions, if we actually get together through public consultations and EA process and decide that's where it's going, I'll help you dig. But to just look out the window and be like, oh yeah, right there, because that's where we build everything, I'm a little frustrated. Having said that, I want to move past the negativity and get to the positivity. As you can see on the slide, finding a home for this university isn't so much about finding our home as about finding ourselves. Who are we as Bramptonians? Why are we building this university? I ask why we're building it, not because I'm ignorant, not because I don't understand there's positive economic benefits to a university. Of course we are. We should absolutely build a university. Students should absolutely go to it. I had to commute. So this was my undergrad. I took night classes. I left my Wednesday night class. I walked to the Via Rail station, came into Brampton, worked overnight shifts, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, took the Via Rail back to my apartment in Kitchener, took 3 night classes in a row. I did that for years, until I went to law school out in Western. In which case, on weekends, I'd get on the Via Rail, I'd come to Brampton, I'd work, I'd get back on the Via train and go back. I would have loved to jump on a Zoom bus and get to my university. Would have saved me tens of thousands of dollars at the expense of Royal Bank, to whom I still owe student loans. So absolutely, build it. Spend $150 million, spend $230 million. That's what we're talking about. 80 from the government and 150 from us. I support it. But what could we do with $230 million? I won't read it out because I respect your time. But if you're talking about transforming Brampton and investing in Brampton, we have options at the $230 million price point. Some of these are humor, some of these are serious, but we could build whatever we want for $230 million. So keep that in mind when you're choosing 6% of businesses over 94% of businesses. So why us? Why are we doing this? We're not doing this for Brampton. We're not doing this for downtown. We're not doing it for the business community. We're not a charity case. Brampton has never been a charity case. We've been the fastest growing city in Brampton, or one of the top 10 fastest growing cities in Brampton, since Mayor Willans visited my class in grade 8. Every year, we're the fastest growing city in Brampton, one of the top 10. We do not need a handout. So what can we do for the Brampton Ryerson University, whatever it ends up being called? First and foremost, we can build it in a convenient location. Who defines convenient? It's not you, it's not me. It's not the Brampton Downtown Business Association improvement area. It's not me. It's got nothing to do with me. This isn't about ego. This isn't about a vanity project or a statue or a plaque. It's the one thing I've learned in business. The customer is always right. Who's the customer? Students, faculty, admin, registrars, deans, the board of directors, the board of governors, librarians, TAs, research assistants. I'm not going to read the whole list. But again, it's not me. It's not you, it's not the Brampton Board of Trade. It's the users of the facility, which is why I find it confusing when I see the report that says, oh yeah, of course it's downtown Brampton. Where else would you put it? What does convenient mean? It means we need classrooms, we need to be able to get to and from the campus, students need to be able to afford to eat, buy books, rent a room or an apartment, engage in recreation, find part-time jobs. Wherever this campus goes, it's got to deliver those things. Otherwise, it will fail. And if it fails, it takes our $230 million with us. So, I put up 4 alternative sites for you to consider. Not because there's only 4 alternative sites. Obviously, the Bramalea GO Station, Mount Pleasant, the new mega mall out in the northwest corner of town. The limit is your imagination. I've picked these 4 sites purely for demonstration purposes. The first I call Ground Zero, Sheridan College. the opportunity to avoid duplication of facilities, services, registrars, even bathrooms, sporting facilities, a running track for the runners. You want to talk about convenient, how about we put it right at ground zero? Right along what could, there's, visual's not that clear, I apologize to the members in the audience. You can walk to the future LRT station through the park. There's grounds right behind South Fletcher Sportsplex. There's a Tim Hortons, very important to students, right across the road. There's apartments, all within walking distance for students to rent and live in. There's density, there's transit, Shoppers World is within walking distance, restaurants are within walking distance, bars are within walking distance. What would be wrong with Ground Zero? I have no idea. What would be wrong with Bramley Civic Center or Bramley City Center? In the second set of slides, separately bound that you have, I have a couple of site locations I want to go through if I have time. But Bramley City Center, it has jobs, it has housing stock, it has countless apartment buildings. The first place I lived when I moved to Brampton was 18 Knightsbridge, apartment 1512. It's still there. I can still see it when I take my kids to the wading pool at Chinguacousy Park. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to live for students. There's all the amenities. They want to play some frisbee golf at lunch, walk across the street to Chinguacousy Park. It's got transit. It's got a transit terminal. I don't know, do we have the outcome of the Queen Street higher order transit plans yet? Do we know if we're getting a Queen Street LRT all the way to Vaughan? Because if we are, now we have instant access to Vaughan students to get to the campus as well. 410 in Queen, I've already touched on this. Now, I don't know exactly what's going on with the old Kelsey's, but that mall has probably a vacancy rate of 80% ever since Sears left. You want to talk about an area of town that could use a boost with students, student income. There's lots of housing stock, there's lots of bars, there's lots of restaurants. My wife was a manager at McDonald's for 10 years. It was the busiest McDonald's in North America, 8 years in a row. The traffic is there, people can get there, it's convenient. You have a visiting professor coming up to U of T, it's right there at 410 in Queen. Across the street, there's also a Toys R Us. That Toys R Us has been there for over 30 years. The businesses in that area are stable and can provide employment for students. The Gore Meadows District, what I call the blank canvas. You want to talk about building a world-class facility, building a world-class library? We just did. Why aren't we leveraging it? Why aren't we taking what's there and painting that blank canvas into a masterpiece? Again, being on the east end of town, it's going to help draw students from Vaughan. It's going to be a lot more convenient for them to get to our northeast corner. From Caledon, from Bolton. Bolton could use the boost. Maybe there's opportunities for joint enterprises with Caledon and Bolton. Everything you want in life you can have if you help others get what they want in life. If we build this university for us, it is doomed to failure. If we build it for the university and for the users of the university, we are bound for success. And I think it's incredibly short-sighted to just build it in downtown because that's the first thing we thought of. And I say it's the first thing we thought of because I don't remember if it was the March meeting or the April meeting, and I'm not picking on Councillor Medeiros, but as early as those meetings, he was talking about how the university is going to help us with our downtown homeless population problem. Well, how did he know back then that was going to, where it was going to be built? I think there's been a tunnel vision on this project from the outset. Well, it's got to go downtown. This is the second set of presentations. If I have time, I'm at 10 minutes. May I just continue very quickly? Very quickly. Okay. You're already double the time. I apologize. The former 21 division. Yeah, we got to call the region of Peel. I called the example campus the Faculty of Law at University of Western Ontario because it was a 1,500 student campus. It's expanded to over 2,500 students. It would fit on that site. It would fit in the Civic Center overflow parking lot. It would, if you look at the parkland at Clark and Dixie behind the LCBO, behind the TD, it would fit the entire Ivy School of Business. The former Kelsey's location could hold a campus. There are 2 adjacent parking lots for the region of Peel. We could bury that parking and build up. Huge campus location could go and create a beautiful streetscape along Queen Street. You could dig out the back end of Chinguacousy Hill and build as much as you want, as high as you want, solving, frankly, 2 problems with 1 project. This is a street view of the former Bramley Transit Terminal, currently sitting empty. There's a second street view taken from the parking lot of the school I went to in grade 2. Here's the Civic Center overflow parking lot, empty. And as you can see, you could build something bigger than the Huron University College campus inside the Bramley Transit Terminal, what is currently overflow parking, turning Clark Boulevard again into a beautiful streetscape, intensifying the area, giving students all access to all the services that I mentioned in the Brampton Civic Center District. There's some more street shots, but thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. I apologize for going so long. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it. Having said that, I have no problem with the basis of the proposal in principle. Committing the funds, absolutely. Handcuffing this council to building it downtown, I do not support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. We will have questions for you after our next delegation. So, we don't have a 5.3, do we, Peter? Who? Sarah Singh? Oh, I'm sorry. Come on down. No, he's on.
Hello, everyone. Good
Welcome.
morning. Thank you very much to members of council and our worship, Mayor Linda Jeffrey. I just wanted to share some thoughts in support of the proposed investment strategy. As a community member here in Brampton, being born and raised here, living here for over 30 years, as well as the executive director of an arts-based organization called Broadening Horizons that supports youth engagement in the city of Brampton as well as the region of Peel, and as a PhD candidate at Ryerson University in the public policy program, I feel that this investment strategy is beneficial for our community. I feel as though the investments in public infrastructure will help support our growth and development, and it's an opportunity for our council to take on leadership, show initiative, and support innovation in a city that needs it and frankly deserves it. I want to thank Wes for his presentation. While very interesting, I do support the move into the downtown core. I think that having been a Ryerson student and seeing over the last 5 years the growth and development that Ryerson has contributed to the downtown core off of Yonge Street is something that will help our community here, not just from a youth perspective, but from a community development and well-being perspective. Something that involves an investment into our education sector from a university perspective, but also our public infrastructure with respect to the investment in a library, as well as community resources for a pretty underserved community. I understand that other parts of Brampton outside of the downtown core are also lacking that infrastructure, but I'm sure council has a plan moving forward on how we can develop that infrastructure outside of the downtown core. But the conversation today is really focused on us bringing that university into our downtown core. So when we look at the investments that are made into public infrastructure in a city like Halifax, where a library is there, students having gone to St. Mary's University in Halifax, Nova Scotia as well, I can attest to the impacts those investments have in our community. Having done research in Calgary and Alberta, I've seen firsthand again the impacts of public investments in infrastructure to support the community. They have a library there that the LRT runs through. That is outside of the box thinking. That is innovation. That is what the city of Brampton deserves and needs. Not only does this create public infrastructure, this helps create jobs, skilled jobs for young people like myself who are going to be graduates of a PhD graduate program. I am looking for something outside of opportunities around manufacturing and labor-related employment. Access to the creative economy, access to academic opportunities, as well as employment opportunities for millennials like myself are essential to the development and the sustainability of our community. Infrastructure that is also taking into consideration our climate and climate change and bringing that to the forefront of our city, I think is also worth investing in. I think that the city of Brampton and the councillors here, you have all shown tremendous leadership in the course of your term in helping our city grow and putting us on the map. We are, as many of you are aware, one of the fastest growing cities. It would be a disservice to current and future residents to not make this investment into our city, to promote and support the innovation that we need as a part of that innovation corridor. We would be doing ourselves a disservice by not supporting that investment in our community as well as for our future generations. I work a lot with young people A lot of young people, I'll be frank with you, don't see the opportunities here in Brampton, and therefore they leave the city to find work, to find educational opportunities, artistic opportunities, what have you, outside of our city. I think an investment like this will help keep people in our city, keep our younger generation proud of our city. They'll want to work here, they'll want to learn here, and they'll want to stay here. So I won't take up too much more of your time. Those are really my thoughts. I just felt it was very important to support the investment that was being made, and I wanted to share some thoughts around the importance of that as someone who is a Ryerson student, a member of this community, and who engages with young people on a daily basis. I feel that is an important investment for our city and the future and the development of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah. There may be questions for you, so be prepared to come back afterwards as well. Thank you. And finally, 5.4, J. Paul Massey Singh, come on down.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for making time for me. Thank you for being gracious enough to open up the agenda, allow me to have this opportunity to speak. It's obviously a very important issue to me, and I appreciate the time. I'm a Brampton citizen, but I'm also the former co-chair of the Blue Ribbon Panel that was struck some years ago to engage the community members and citizens in this process of getting a university here in Brampton. In addition, I'm a former chair of the Brampton Board of Trade, I'm the current board chair of our library, and I'm a business owner here in Brampton. So I have a number of perspectives and a number of interests that are tied to seeing the success of our community on a number of levels, but most importantly, what we do with post-secondary education and culture here in our community. I'd like to thank the staff and for putting together this report and all the hard work over the years. As a Blue Ribbon Panel member, I've seen firsthand the hard effort that went into this. Council, for your support over the years, not just in guidance and conversation, but those members who served on the Blue Ribbon Panel, and also for supporting the studies that were required to get us to this final report. I'd like to point out that there are some members of the panel here today, Daisy Wright and Terry Miller, who put in a lot of effort and served very hard on that panel. Thank you for making the time to be here. And of course, to the delegates from Sheridan and Ryerson for making your time today as well. I just want to be brief. There's a lot has already been said, and I appreciate the perspective shared and the vision articulated in the staff report, that this is an opportunity to invest in the innovation, the transformative power, and making our city future ready. And I think the benefits have been well articulated. Most significantly, the up to $1 billion in economic activity and development that happens in cities that bring on universities, and the 3 to 7 times return on investment for dollars put in by cities into their communities, coming back into their communities. To say nothing of the reputational impact and the way it raises the standard on how that community is perceived outside of its local jurisdictions. I think Sarah did a wonderful job of articulating what a university can do for its students. What I'd like to use my time to today is just to give some insights into the process and perspectives that came about from the Blue Ribbon Panel process, Blue Ribbon Panel meetings. Just to recap for those who may have forgotten, who may not have been here for the entire journey, the Blue Ribbon Panel reached out to every university in Ontario regarding this opportunity to be here in Brampton. And we met with and interviewed several. We visited many campuses to see what made them successful, not just as universities, but also as members of their community, and why those communities thrived by having those universities be there. We put in that homework. We engaged with the secondary school boards to understand what graduates from Brampton and Peel broadly were looking for and why they were leaving our communities to go to other communities and not return because of the opportunities that weren't available here in Brampton for them now. And what did we learn? We learned a few things. We learned that university-city partnerships come about through true partnerships, where there are investments by both sides, not just in dollars and programming, but also in sharing spaces through libraries, cultural institutions like theaters, and museums. But that return on investment is significant, but that only happens when that doesn't happen just because a university creates jobs and attracts students. It happens when a university and a city work together to create a climate that attracts business, encourages students to start businesses and work in the communities while they're students, and provides a place for graduates to want to live, to start and build their own businesses, and ultimately to attract not just future students, but in general, bright, industrious, and creative people who want to come to this community. We will be successful not by getting a great university to come to Brampton. We will be successful by creating a great partnership with a great university and a great college who are already here in Brampton. Working together, we will not just create some jobs, we will create jobs for the future. We will attract people well beyond the student body, and we will be able to make an impact that goes generationally. So, and what else do we learn? We learned that investment in the infrastructure around the university, in transit, in culture, in business innovation is important. And in line with what we saw in the report is that the investments being suggested in the report are very much in line with what we need to ensure not just Ryerson and not just Sheridan are successful, therefore, but Brampton as well. And for that reason, I'd like to express my support as a member of the Blue Ribbon Panel and the co-chair of that committee the support for this staff report, and I would encourage council members to support it as well. On a final note, I'd like to share that when the Blue Ribbon Panel reviewed the many discussions we had with potential parties and stakeholders, we conducted our interviews and went through the scoring on the criteria that we established to objectively review the pros and cons of each of the university partners we could work with. Ryerson was the clear choice as the best university for our community to be working with. And I just want to say, as a member of that panel and a member of our community, I'm so pleased to have you here today. I'm very much looking forward to seeing your journey here in Brampton. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, J. Paul. You had 1 second left.
I don't. That's a rare one for me.
Thank you very much. And there will be questions for you, I'm sure, as well. So please stick around. Okay, we've got a pretty full board. So we will go to the questions right now. And the questions could be of the report, of the presentation, or of the delegates. So we will handle those as they come up. Councillor Gibson, you are on the board first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd really like to thank staff for the hard work that they've put in this, not just in this report, but all along, right from the whole get-go. When Mr. Schlang was hired, he said that we were going to change the way things were going to happen in Brampton from the past, and this is an example, I think, of that, because one of the things that I always had a concern with, and I'm going to use an example of something that some of us on council didn't feel like we were being listened to a few years back, was the site around the Peel Memorial precinct. And a couple of us on council, 2 of us sitting right here, during that process said, we cannot throw $60 million at a hospital precinct and then let nothing happen around it. And we were guaranteed from staff at that time that we wouldn't do that. Well, guess what? We did. We didn't do anything. So what's happening around that hospital right now is just something that's come along half-assed kind of way. And that really bothered me, that we just let that happen. We should have had a plan in place. So getting to today, if you recall at the beginning of this whole process, I was actually chastised for some people in social media for being negative about this. And it wasn't being negative. And Michelle knows, I had some conversations with Michelle. All I was trying to do is not do what we did in that hospital precinct and say, let's prepare for where it's going to be and what's going to happen around it. So thank you very much for doing that. This is what this report can almost be 2 reports. But it's one report, and Harry, you and I had talked last night about this, is because they enhance each other. They really do work together to enhance each other. And I feel a little bit vindicated today. I feel like staff listened to some of us, to all of us. Actually, in this case, I think we all were saying the same thing this time around. And kudos to you guys. This is now stepping out of the box and looking and creating new boxes, and it's somebody mentioned it's a big step, and it really is a big step to say, we're going to put this type of money forward. Perhaps maybe though, in all this, what we didn't do is a good enough job in explaining the process that we went to. Although we explained it along the way, it kind of reminded me when Mr. Jackson was speaking about some of those other sites that could have, I remember at the last term of council, we went through a lot of that stuff on a lot of those other sites. And this term of council, basically this term of council said we want it downtown. That's what we said. The process of going through all those other sites had been done, and the economic guys have said, the biggest impact we're going to get is if it's downtown. So when I look at this report, I view this report as a conditional report. And correct me if I'm wrong. This is a conditional report that says we will put this forward. We will put this money forward if it's in the downtown. The public don't know. We don't know 100% where this is going to go because we aren't the ones choosing where it's going to go. These folks are the ones choosing where it's going to go. And I say that because I think that there's a little bit of misunderstanding, judging by a couple of the emails that I had gotten in the last few days about the city selecting where it's going to go and what it's going to happen and all that kind of stuff. I just want to reiterate that I think the staff have done a beautiful job of bringing us to this point where we are today, and not sitting back and just saying, we're going to put $50 million towards this and let it happen. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And it takes a lot of guts, I think, for the staff to come forward and say, Council, we want you to do this. This is what you were asking for, and this is what it's going to cost if you were going to do it. And as councillors, we have to make that decision, and it's a big decision to make. So thanks for not sitting back. Thanks for taking something to us that says, we're going to get a university, here's where it's going to go somewhere in that area. And if you want this whole thing to be successful, if you want to go forward, and I'm going to be negative later in another report about the province's vision of what's going to happen around this university, because what we heard at AMO, I think, was very disheartening. What we're saying here in this report, in my mind, is 1,000 students isn't good enough. We agree with Ryerson, we agree with Sheridan, we want to grow this well into the future, thousands and thousands of students, and that's where somebody said, this is really great for the youth of Brampton. Well, 1,000 students, yeah, that's good. Not good enough. We're putting money forward, and we're going to make the future for the youth in Brampton. And Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to say any more other than that, other than if you need somebody to move the report, I'd be happy to move the report. I don't want to step on anybody's toes here, but the downtown is in my area, and maybe that's where it's going to go. And if it is, then I'd be happy to move the report, and I'm sure Councilor Moore would have to second it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gibson. You will be moving the report and all the delegates in the presentation. So, thank you. Councillor Willens.
Thank you, through you, Chair, and I'd like to reiterate what Councillor Gibson said. And thank you, Harry, for reminding us back in 1967 there was 350 students at Sheridan College. I remember that because I was around then. But Brampton now had there was barely 20,000 people back then, though. There was under 20,000 people back then in Brampton. So times certainly have changed, and population now in Brampton, as we know, is well over 600,000. So it's important. I think both delegates spoke about the importance of having a university for our students in Brampton. So I think what Councillor Gibson said, 1,000 students isn't good enough. We have to ask for more. The province said they'll give us 1,000. We want more than 1,000. It's more important. But as far as the report goes, I'd be happy to support the report as well. It's very well done. It's very comprehensive. It's well done. And thank you, Harry, and thank you, Michelle, for all your help on this. So good work, but 1,000 isn't good enough.
Thank you, Councillor Willens. Councillor Dillon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to first off start off by thanking staff. We've had a lot of positive reaction from the residents that they're finally seeing progress, and that I guess for the first time in a while they're really being kept up to date as to what's going on, and so I think that's really good. And Harry, I want to commend you for your leadership. We've seen a stark change, and I think it's a positive change since you've come in. You said you're going to shake things up, and I think we've seen that. This is the game changer for our city, and I think to really get a grasp of how much of what type of change we could have, I think you really have to go to downtown Toronto and just see the area around Ryerson. I think I was fortunate enough to have went to Ryerson. I think I mentioned before, my younger brother's a fourth-year student entering his fourth year this year. So I've had an opportunity over the past few years to, when I drop him off, to get a chance to look around and see how things have changed. And I remember when the building right on the northeast corner of Yonge and Dundas wasn't built. That's back in '02. Just before that, the actual Yonge and Dundas Square wasn't built. And it's went through such an amazing transformation. It's completely changed the surrounding area, and I could say that I'm proud to have went to Ryerson. And quite literally, they are city builders. And 2 weeks ago, I went downtown, and I just sent an email. I said, listen, you know what, to some of the staff, I want to see the DMZ area, and I was absolutely blown away to see what goes on in there. And I think, so basically, if anybody doesn't know what the DMZ is, I think it's an incubator. And so anybody who has an idea for a startup, they go to the DMZ, and Ryerson, it doesn't matter if they're students or not, but Ryerson will help them out. And you have a lot of business partners as well involved. I think you have some of the big insurance companies, you've got BMO sponsors as well, but some of these companies have started off small, but they've grown substantially. I think their past couple of years, there's been about $300 million of activity just from these companies alone. And I think in Canada, they're the number one incubator, but I think in all of the world, pardon? In North America. And I think they're number 2 in all of the world. Number 3, it's close enough. But I'm just saying, if anybody hasn't been there, I really recommend going down there just to see what type of change, potential change, we could expect to see. I really don't have many words. I'm just going to quote from the report itself. Brampton is on the cusp of incredible transformation. Really bold words in this report. This is a commitment not just to the university, but to the future of our youth, our residents, and our businesses across the city. It's a commitment to achieving the vision of our strategic plan, a connected city that's innovative, inclusive, and bold. It's new growth for the economy in the center of Canada's new innovation super corridor. The report proposes an investment beyond a contribution to a university. A state-of-the-art facility which provides innovation and collaborative space for the community, entrepreneurs, business, and students. It's a unique opportunity to bring talent, jobs, and investment to our city through a university. Brampton is moving towards becoming a global city. Brampton is thinking about bigger development, planning, jobs, and the economy. The university is an opportunity for Brampton to leap forward as a future-ready city, leading the way on Canada's innovation super corridor. Just going on, some other things I saw in the report. The city's vision has always reached beyond a traditional university campus. A financial contribution from the city of Brampton towards securing a new university will have significant transformative impacts on the entire community. Provide an opportunity to improve the lives of students, families, and provide a boost to the Brampton business community. And finally, in the report it says all prospective partners expressed an interest in a center that combines education with innovation and collaboration. And as the Deputy Premier referred to, as something we've never seen anywhere else in the world. So very, very strong, bold words in this report. It's very exciting. As a parent of 2 young children, I want my kids to stay in Brampton, live in Brampton, go to school in Brampton, work in Brampton. So this is really exciting. And so those are just some of the things that stood out in the report. And I just wanted to comment on Mr. Jackson. Is he still here? Yep. Oh, yeah. So, I don't disagree with you that, we need to focus on all parts of the city. You did mention Gore, and I'd love to have more business in the East End. But if you take a look at wards 9 and 10, we literally only have 5.7% of the business in Brampton. And would I like a university there? I'd like one there, but I think there's more value in investing downtown, especially with opportunities around Peel Memorial and being in the middle of the innovation corridor. I do think perhaps as part of ongoing future discussions, the fact that our economic development plan doesn't take each part of the city, each ward into account, whereas we're only focusing on a few areas, and I'd like to see zones. That'd be interesting because I think all the residents and all businesses in the city might have an opportunity for their voice to be heard. So just speaking to where your business is, I do think the province has identified that as part of the Queen Street corridor, and I think there's a lot of exciting opportunities there. But in the end, I think Ryerson knows where they want to be. They have a stellar school of urban planning and examples of success in building innovation centers around the world, and I'm sure they've done their research. And in terms of downtown Brampton, it's the center of the city, maybe not geographically, but it is the center, and it's where many amenities exist for transit that the province and Ryerson need us to provide. We got the go-to Zoom lines, we're near highways, and students and young people want to be in hip urban areas. And I think no one shows that more than Ryerson University. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dillon. Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you. Through the chair, I guess to echo everyone, first, thank you staff for all the yeoman's work, and I know there's a lot of unsung heroes in the back who've all pitched in, and you had a big team supporting you, but certainly the face of this initiative, and on such a swan song, it's quite the initiative to go off to greener pastures. So thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you for all the delegations. I think it really shows the passion that folks have to really come here and support this initiative. Thank you for everyone in attendance. I know we have Brampton Board of Trade represented. We have members of the Blue Ribbon panel, so it's really good to see the community together. With that said, as we go forward, so looking at the report, and just to clarify and just some questions. One specifically, when we talk about funding sources, if we can just, again, if you can, I'm not sure, Michelle, when we look at funding sources, one of the guidelines I'd like to see as criteria, and I'm not sure if other councillors feel the same, if we can come up with a proposal or come back with a report where it really clears away from any tax levy. So I would, propose, for example, looking at assets that we have. We talk about an asset management plan, and we have assets that we possibly can offset some of the costs. I'm hoping this type of thought process, and I'm not looking for answers, but I'm hoping that when we come back with some financial, package, that we really try to stay clear from a levy. And we look at all the options that come with it. And also would be interesting in terms of the infrastructure that we're talking about, the $100 million. I'd like to, maybe at budget, talk about what operationally that could look like. How many staff do we need there? And this is stuff that, that just for the conversation, so it becomes very clear the type of decision that we're making financially in the contribution. Certainly, when we talk about $50 million, it's accurate to say, Michelle, this is no different from any other community that puts skin in the game to support a university. We recognize how transformational it is, but if you can just confirm, Michelle, what we're doing here as a municipality is usually what we've seen other municipalities have done.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So you're correct, Councillor Medeiros, that the $50 million investment to support the post-secondary institution is in line with other communities. The reason that we put the third recommendation into the report is for exactly the purposes that you outline, that there is more information that needs to come together. Staff and our treasurer is here and can further comment, but staff will be doing a lot of work to make sure that there is a funding package that can be discussed fully with members of council and with budget committee to make sure that you're comfortable with the investment. And we'll also be looking at coming up with criteria to make sure that when the city does make this investment, that the outcomes that we will be looking for will be met by the initiative.
So through the chair, there's going to be strong accountability measures and performance management tied to any money that we flow. Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes, absolutely correct.
Through the chair as well, I share my disappointment regarding the province's contribution or suspected contribution. Will we be continue to work with other levels of government to lobby them to ensure that there might be some opportunities for investment into the infrastructure that Brampton needs?
Through the chair, there are opportunities that we have already identified with the federal government and provincial government, and that those discussions have commenced. We will be working with our partners to take that forward. And what's really interesting is what we're proposing with the 100 million investment, because it's a proposed joint use and very innovative project. That's something that we're hoping will be of great interest to other levels of government.
And through the chair, and this is maybe not could be answered, but from a marketing perspective, when being one of the representatives that having a campus of Sheridan College, the Davis campus, when I see in marketing materials, whenever I see Sheridan's materials, noting Brampton is amazing. And the idea of having Ryerson University now in their promotional materials, their marketing and branding, you can't quantify that. I'm not sure if we could quantify that, but it's really remarkable that, when you go around the world with Ryerson materials and they talk about where does Ryerson exist, Brampton will be noted. So I think we can't just underestimate that, and hopefully we look at a strategy to really take advantage of that from a marketing perspective. Just lastly, I guess, to the delegation, and I appreciate Mr. Jackson for your presentation. I just wanted to clarify, as my name was referenced, I do not know where the university is going to. I think members of council have expressed interest for the downtown. My comment at the time was, when we build, if we build a university and if Ryerson selects the downtown, that we remember that we have folks there who are in precarious homeless situation, and that the city try to work to provide some alternatives and opportunities to help them relocate. So that was the context of my comment, just to be quite clear, but I thank you for your passion and for the some of the thought-provoking ideas that you provided. But just essentially, this is a great opportunity. This is a great work, and certainly if there's an initiative that can really sort of bring folks together, unify, and just lastly, the point that Councillor Gibson talked about the hospital and how the fact that we didn't add ancillary services there when the hospital was being created, I couldn't agree more, and that's why when you propose this 100 million facility in the downtown, how transformational it could be, it's fantastic. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Medeiros. Councillor Moore.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I first would like to thank Harry Schlang, our CAO, for putting together the right team to get the job done and to champion this through to the point and under the control that we have at the city on this issue, and it certainly has paid off. I second want to thank you, and I've done it before, for lifting us out of the weeds. We have talked forever about a university and the opportunities a university would bring to our city. Now we get to stop, well, we don't get to stop talking about it, but this is the action piece of it, and that's what makes this report so incredibly exciting for us as the city. We get to finally lift ourselves out of the weeds and start working towards seeing the reality of a university in our community rather than just talking about it and commiserating about it probably more often than what we should have. It does send a strong message that we are committed to being a partner with Ryerson and Sheridan, being a partner with the province on this, that we are serious about making the kind of investment that we need to make locally to make it happen. I do wish, however, that the report was a little more clear on when we talk about the $100 million into the Joint Use Centre for Education. It's not as clear as it should be for members of the public who may have read the report over the weekend, because when I read that, I see a library on steroids. And I think that's because when you talk about a library for our community, we know we need a downtown library. I mean, the former proposal for the Southwest Quadrant was a 3-phase project. It talked about building a new central library in our downtown on the George Street site. I would like to see that happen. I wanted to see it happen back then as part of one big project rather than phasing it in. So I'm really excited that we may get to see hopefully a brand new downtown library on steroids that includes the kind of things around innovation and collaboration and just a place of tremendous excitement and energy in the downtown. So I think that, but I would have liked to have seen that a little more clear in the context of what that $100 million was offering for the community not just in the context of a report on the university. So I'm saying it because I think that clarity is very important. You've covered the issue around the federal funding. Certainly Nav Baines, in some speaking engagements that he's made, has referenced wanting to invest in that type of post-secondary. Not to beat a dead horse on the 1,000 students, but if we go to 7.1.8, and it talks about the return on investment, and I don't know whether you can put that up on the screen, 7.1.8 of Bob Seguin's presentation. There's a little something on that slide that if you don't look closely, way down in the bottom, based on 5,000 student enrollment. You know what? Brampton deserves 100% of this return on investment, not 1/5 of that. And so I'm glad we're all setting our sights on something larger in terms of student. But, the slide is somewhat misleading when you look at that tiny, small print down in the bottom, 5,000 students. And I've been in Brampton since 1964. I remember when Sheridan was not the strong presence in our community that it is, but it was stronger by comparison. When you started at 350 or 380 students, that's 1.75% of Brampton's population at the time. 1,000 students is 0.16 of Brampton's population today. So it absolutely needs to be something bigger, something better, something more prominent in our community, and we're going to get there. But it is, and I think it does need to be said that Markham, their phase 1 is 4,500 students, so they're getting pretty close to the 100% of the return on investment, given that they're pretty close to the 5,000. Their phase 2 is going to be 10,000 students for a provincial $127 million investment. And I understand the region has put money into that, and Markham has donated the land. So it's a full package. But, while I don't necessarily want to always compare ourselves to other communities, we kind of do it because we tend to not benefit as much as other communities. If we were on the other side of the argument, we might draw less comparison to that. On the investment strategy, and when we talk about the $100 million, first of all, let me just backtrack a little bit. On the $100 million for the new central library in the downtown, or the Center for Innovation and Collaboration, let's add on to that the $25 million streetscaping project that we are investing in the downtown to increase pedestrian traffic. That is more investment. I think at some point, for the downtown BIA and for all of our residents, we need to look at the total of the investment we've made in downtown Brampton over the past 10 or 15 years, whether that was the Rose Theatre, the Southwest Quadrant, the big screen in the square, the $25 million streetscaping project, new central library. And to Councillor Medeiros' point of looking at what are our other assets and where do we recapture some of that investment, and so that we can make different investment, where the central library is today is an asset. And there's a higher, better use for that property today, certainly a prettier use for that property today. So there isn't a, I'll go back to when the Southwest Quadrant was approved by the council of the day. It was a 3-phase project. One was to build the central library, relocate them there, and then explore, actually I think the plan at the time was to build another 126,000 square feet of administrative staff space, but I think we can do a better job than that for that property. But there are, this is a little bit of a domino. We're going to see return, but we've made significant investment. To Wes's point, we've made a lot of investment in the downtown. we need to make sure that that investment was in fact well invested. And by attracting the university in the downtown, we get, we protect that investment. So, I do think that, and I really appreciated your presentation, Wes, because it does sort of remind us that there's other areas of the city that are worthy of and should have investment, and at some point they all tie together. But on the investment strategy, it's one thing to talk $100 million. We do have other projects that we need to invest in, and so during budget deliberations, we've got to give some pretty serious thought, whether that's the Riverwalk project, which is the key that unlocks the downtown for a lot of the kinds of student housing and other municipal investment that we can and should be making. So I think that's all I need to say. Happy to second the report. As I said, this is finally the action piece that we have all been waiting for a very, very long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Councillor Sprovieri.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, staff, for the report. I think that I'd like to know, first of all, that I do believe in investing. I have invested my own money, some good, some not so good in my past. Keep in mind that we're investing the people's dollars in this case, and I believe that we have to invest wisely and have a good return. I believe that I don't know how hard it was for you to recommend $150 million. Why not 100 or 200? I think that there must have been some thought given to that number, and I believe that you've done a good job, and probably the easy part of the work, because I think the hard part is to make sure that we get a good return for the investment that we're committing to. And as Councillor Moore has indicated, we need a commitment from the province that the university will grow as Brampton grows. We're going to be growing almost another 400,000 people in the next 20 years or so, and there's going to be a lot more students coming along, and we need this commitment from the province in order to really show the people of Brampton that we are making a good investment. Because investing $150 million for 1,000 students is certainly not a good investment in my book, and we need to make sure that we, as part of the conditions, and when you come back with the report, and that's addressed, that we wanted some assurance from the province, at least, that they will plan to expand the university in Brampton as the population grows. Generally speaking, I think that we're on the right track. The commitment has been made for a university here, which is really a great success story. But we need to make sure it's done right, because if we don't, we'll go down in history as not investing wisely. And we've done it before here in this council. We've done some bad investments as for the city, for the residents, and we don't want it to happen again. And so I do support the report, and I look forward to seeing the conditions and the following reports to make sure that Brampton residents, taxpayers, are getting a good value for their investment, for their tax dollars. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Sprovieri. Councillor Paleshi. Chair Paleshi.
No, you're the chair. Thank you, Chair Bowman. And I guess I have to start off by thanking everybody that's already been thanked 20 times. But I really appreciate it, and I thank you. Some of the things that have been already mentioned, I won't dig into a little bit deep, but I'll start off by saying, Mr. Jackson, when I first heard about the partnership between Ryerson and Sheridan, to me, from a business standpoint, it was a no-brainer that this university is going on the Sheridan campus. Like it completely made sense. When I looked a little bit deeper into Ryerson and their motto and their shtick about how they're downtown university, it changed my mind about how, where this is going to go. They're all about the downtown, and they're proven in the downtown. I think that the benefits that they bring to the downtown is certainly going to be good for the city of Brampton. But we've invested a lot into the downtown, and I appreciated you getting up and saying, what about Mount Pleasant, although you didn't show any pictures of Mount Pleasant, which I was disappointed in. But, I agreed. There was 52 acres, the old Siemens property that was purchased a long time ago on the fact that, that was a potential site for the university. But I think the partnership that the city of Brampton has gotten into with Ryerson, it's going to be that downtown university, and I appreciate that Ryerson is committed in being in the downtowns that they are in. I'm not sure I completely believe in the fact that that this is in line. The municipal contributions are in line with other municipalities. When I look at some of the other contributions that have been made, 10 million, 14 million, 20 million, and the only other one on this, on slide 7.2.1-15 is the 50 million from Milton. It certainly doesn't seem to be that it is in line with other municipalities. So a couple questions around the 50 million and the financial implications. Is the land value going to be included in that 50 million once we determine how much that land value is, or is that above and beyond?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we're looking at this 50 million as being an overall investment, and as identified in the report, that could be made up of different elements from our budget, different financial tools or land. So that is intended to be an overall value and amount that the city would invest in Ryerson University and their partner.
Okay, and some of the other things, cash in lieu, DCs, legacy fund, debt or dedicated tax levy. When is this? When is staff going to report back on the leveraging of the financial resources?
Through the chair, when we have further details in terms of what this actually looks like, in terms of what the facilities look like, we'll have a better sense of the actual funding sources that can be applied to the different components of it. So we will bring back to council, the funding options related to the facilities and in respect of the actual funding recommendations. So we'll come back to council and report on that.
And then at that time, is there going to be a firmed up answer on what the province is doing? I think we pretty much get it. It's going to be 50-50, although I don't necessarily know if that's in writing. But also the federal, I know the discussions are just being had now. Do we know what, or at that time, are we going to know what other contributions are from other levels of government?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we're expecting that full details will be available and made public by the province later this year, so by the end of this year. So the idea is that staff will come back with all of those details, with how we're going to move forward as a city with our investment and with all of the items identified in this report. And that's why the report talks about in principle at this stage, because we didn't feel it was fair to committee to ask you to make a final commitment without understanding all of the details of the project. So all of those details will come back in a comprehensive report and allow you to make a fully informed decision.
And I caught that, and I thank you for that. I don't want to assume. I don't like assuming anything. I don't want to make an ass of you or me. So but we really need to know, in budget term, when it is time for the budget, what this is going to look like, and who else is at the table. What about the library, or not the library? Sorry, Rebecca. The school board. Will they be contributing anything? Have we had any discussions with them?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have had some excellent discussions with the public and Catholic school boards about partnership in our project and potential opportunities. We haven't discussed any financial opportunities, but we have started conversations about, discussions about pathways for students and a more seamless educational opportunities through from elementary to secondary into post-secondary education. And I think that's the real value add that the school boards can bring to this project. And they were part of the design charrette yesterday, so there were some excellent conversations about that yesterday.
Okay, and I'm not sure, I know that, okay, so the university's going in the downtown. Has it been locked and sealed about where the location is, or is there opportunity still, like Councillor Moore touched on the current library space of where that is? Is there still opportunity for movements?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have been continuing conversations about possible locations. There has not been a final decision made on an exact location, and the province will be the ones announcing that. And as we've discussed before, it's the lead proponent, Ryerson University, that have to be very confident about the location that is selected. And so we're working with them to make sure they have all of the information they can, but ultimately it won't be until the provincial announcement later this year that we will understand the final proposed location.
Okay, and then after the final question, after the provincial announcement, that's kind of the seal it's done, Brampton's getting university, this is kind of what it looks like. Say by chance there's a new government after the next election, is there an opportunity for any new government coming in or anything to cancel the project or to make it better?
With you, Chair, to answer the Council's question, it always is. Any new government isn't bound by past government's decisions, but we anticipate with the full support of this Council and the citizens and the partners, it would be a very difficult decision to overturn. And we would be working with all the partners to improve the funding over time and improve the commitment to growth over time. That's a strong advocacy role we would suggest Council take to continue the growth of this facility, regardless of if there is a new government or continuing government.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pleshy. Councillor Dillon, with your indulgence, I'll move to Councillor Miles and Mayor Jeffrey and then come back to you. Give everybody a chance. Councillor Miles.
Yeah, thank you very much. My comments first are to the representatives from Sheridan and Ryerson that are here with us today. I hope that you're getting a message from this council that we are here and ready to develop a really strong partnership with you that is going to be very successful for both you as Ryerson and Sheridan and for the City of Brampton. We're ready for this and we are committed to this. And I think, and I'm hoping that is the message that you're going to take back to your boards, that the City of Brampton is truly going to be a strong partner and they're going to be there to support you as you move through this process. And I think the comments by members of council today certainly attest to that. The other message is, I think 1,000 students isn't what we're looking for. We're planning for a university that is going to continue to grow. And if you look at the numbers of students from the City of Brampton that are traveling to other communities for their post-secondary education, I think you're going to be full up before you even open your doors. And so we look forward to a university that is quickly going to move forward in numbers and in success. Opportunity abounds in the City of Brampton. And I say that to you who are looking to join partners with us, but also to our community as a whole. Opportunity abounds in the City of Brampton because of who we are and because of the leadership that you find here. And I think the report that we have today That's what it's saying. It's saying we as a municipality are ready and prepared for the future. Because if we do not endorse the recommendations that are here today, we will not be ready, and the opportunities will continue to slip through our fingers. So this report really is poising us as a city, as a potential home for a new university, but also for a center of innovation and a community at the cusp of really beginning to boom. So this report, I think members of council have said it in so many ways, it's really positioning the city so that when opportunity happens, we're ready. We've seen that with government grants, we've seen that with business opportunities. By council saying today, we are committed to moving this forward, and we're committed to investing the kind of dollars that we need to make it happen. We're ready for that opportunity to abound. So I just want to say to my fellow members of council, I really am very proud today to be a part of this council, and I think the kind of comments and the kind of support that you've all made, the kind of insight that you have given and your commitment, that's really important for the City of Brampton. And Madam Mayor, it's certainly not without the leadership that you have given to this subject as well, along with our amazing staff who have done just a phenomenal job. So I'm ready to be a part of moving this thing forward, and I think it's, we need to continue to talk about the opportunities and continue to work together as a team to really bring this to a reality. So, thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Miles. Madam Mayor, if it's okay with you, Councillor Dillon has said he's just got one quick question, and then we'll leave the final comments to you. Okay?
Yeah, I do appreciate that. I had a quick question. I thought that the chair and the mayor should appropriately have the last words. Just very quickly, in terms of streetscaping, that's the sidewalk widening, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? I think one lane will be taken away.
Through you, we're looking at the streetscaping on the entire corridor there on Main and Queen.
Right.
And it's not just, it's the narrowing of the road, it's the wider sidewalk. And we've provided some design charrettes on that and had some public feedback. So
right.
There's still final design still coming forward.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if the university and the growth of university was taken into account when that decision was made. I think because there's going to be extra transit, I'm assuming, and traffic going through there. So I'm just wondering if that's going to be taken into account going forward.
It's taken into account of all the quality of life that the faculty would want to see there, as well as students, in redesigning that entire corridor. So.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Dillon. Mayor Jeffrey?
Mr. Chair, I wonder if we could indulge, if you would indulge me. Today we have the President and Vice Chancellor of Ryerson University, Mohammed Lachmi, and we have the President and Vice Chancellor of Sheridan College, Mary Pierce. I would love it if they could come up and speak. I think these are our partners, and I think that it means a lot to me that they've been part of this, and I would love to, with the indulgence of council, have them come up and say a few words.
Okay. Is that 2/3? That carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I'm very pleased to be here. I'll tell you that I'm really inspired by what I'm hearing from you today, but also what I have heard from the community for the last 2 years. I started this journey, if you remember, on September 18th, 2015. 2015, that was my first interaction where they invited me really to talk about a vision for Ryerson in Brampton. We spent over 2 hours. It was Friday afternoon after 4. I think we left around 7 p.m. And I'm really inspired by what I'm hearing from you about your vision, your bold vision for the city of Brampton and beyond Brampton. And also I'm very humbled by what I'm seeing from the youth in this particular city. I had an opportunity really to interact with a lot of youth. And I can tell you that Ryerson has a lot of students that are coming from Brampton. We have 15,000 alumni in the city of Brampton. And we have thousands of students now. And I'm very pleased to see that one of our students is here today. So I'm very proud of you.
It's a setup.
So I think what you are doing here is not about classroom for students. You are talking about transforming post-secondary education in the 21st century. What I'm hearing here is about education, collaboration, strategic partnership, and innovation. And I think those are the important elements that we, as a university at Ryerson, believe in. I think we have done that in downtown Toronto. We are doing it in different places now. Our approach of what we call zone learning or zone education, we implement this in different places. The most successful example was mentioned about what the DMZ has done in downtown Toronto. DMZ is a space platform for collaboration for youth. In the last 7 years, DMZ has given an opportunity for youth, and we're not talking in this case just about students from Ryerson. We're talking about the youth in downtown Toronto. They funded more than 300 startups, and they raised more than $300 million, and they created more than 3,000 jobs. This is the type of education and partnership that we would like to have with you here. And we are already actually engaging in some discussion about creating, of course we are talking about university, but our vision is bold. And it's not about 1,000 students. I totally agree with all of you. This is a beginning. Our vision is for this city. When I look at the population of cities around Canada, you are in the top 10. I think you are in number 7 or 8. So we have 97 universities in Canada. This is the only city of its size in North America without a university. So it's about transforming the city, not only, as I said, opening classrooms, but also making sure that you put Brampton as a world leader in specific areas. We have already engaged many partners about what kind of programs we can put here. We are not duplicating what we are doing in downtown Toronto. We are creating something that is new. And some of the areas that we are talking about is how we can bring also innovation to the way that we are educating students. Areas like cybersecurity, big data, data analytics, all the partners that we talk to are keen to come to the city and being partner with us. Our discussion with Deloitte. Deloitte has a presence now in the city of Vaughan with more than 100 people working on cybersecurity. They said if you open a location there with a global cybersecurity institute, we'll move all our people from Vaughan to Brampton. This is an example of the partners that we can attract to the city. And as I said, I am extremely humbled by what I am seeing, what I am hearing from the youth. Why? Because I think the city is very young. You have a lot of youth that are hungry. And they want to stay here. So having the capacity to retain them and attract more people is extremely important. And in this case, the location would be critical. You have to think about a location where people can come and contribute to the economic transformation of downtown Brampton. We're not just looking at the economy. We are also aspect of culture. The culture aspect is very important. And I think the way that you are looking at a center for where you can integrate the library, that's a very innovative way to do it. And the only thing that I would add, on top of this is in terms of location. When we started all this journey, actually we did our research and we looked at different locations. And we considered many different locations. If you look at our letter of intent to the government when we started the process, they asked about location. And because of the great partnership that we have with Sheridan, we proposed a location on their campus. I get many emails and letters from people in the city, especially the youth, saying that I don't think they are going in the right direction in terms of location. We want to be in downtown Toronto. And this is why we are heading in that direction, of course, with your support. So congratulations. Bravo with a big B about your vision, bold vision for the city. And I would say it's not only for the city. A lot of people are talking about the corridor of innovation, Toronto, Waterloo. You are at the center of that corridor of innovation. I think you will have a lot of attraction. This will be a magnet for people to come from both directions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, councillors, guests, it's an honor for Sheridan to be here today to listen to this discussion and to actually be energized by the positivity and the optimism that comes with your respective messages and support for this proposition. Sheridan, as you know, has a very long history in Brampton, as in we opened our doors in '67, and the proportion of the population issue, it was a smaller town, and Sheridan was for sure a smaller enterprise. But we've grown substantially, and we've grown substantially in 3 different communities with maybe 3 different identities in those respective areas. So in Oakville is really the home for the arts and for the many degrees and programs that we have in arts, music theater, animation, which is world-renowned, et cetera. You know, the numbers of programs, and it's not a list we want to run here. And Mississauga, we came and we went, and then we came again. And so to the Ryerson model of city building, I'd say our downtown campus in Mississauga, which was, you know, we were driving around in taxis when I first came to Sheridan 9 years ago, trying to check out the properties and whether we should be outside in the the Netherlands at that point of what was Mississauga, or whether we should be in the downtown core, was a huge discussion there. And I think if you went down, we're now opening, those discussions were happening in 2010 and 11. We are about to break soil on the 3rd extension for that downtown campus in Mississauga. So experience from a city building perspective and bringing the energy that students and ideas bring to a community is alive and well in Mississauga, and maybe lesson learned to the point about not pinning or penning in a new institution and allowing it to grow as it needs to will be a very important decision and part of, no doubt, future discussions here in Brampton. As far as our Brampton campus is concerned, it's 11,000 students, 4,500 of whom are international students, which made me sensitive to some of the earlier conversation about the integration of international students into the communities, be they academic or the communities and the neighborhoods themselves. So we have 11,000 students now in Brampton. It's by far our biggest campus, with an identity that's quite unique and separate onto itself. But probably from an innovation perspective, I can say that we have 5 or 6 research centers as an organization, and one of the big ones is the Advanced Manufacturing Center here at our Davis campus, which was started through some council's deliberations back in the day that contributed $2 million to the foundation of that facility, and it's a state-of-the-art center for robotics and 3D visualization, et cetera. So it's a huge presence here and as a research center. This September, we have just moved and I guess you'll love this. Our whole skills trades enterprise from Oakville has now moved up here to Brampton in a stellar new facility, and it's really signaling that we value our skilled trades role as much as we value the 24 degrees that we offer as an institution. So the richness of a whole array of programming contributions to the skilled trades as much as to the intellectual and artistic endeavors of students are very critical. So we have a sustainability center at the Davis campus now that is unparalleled, where we are recycling energy generated by our various functions organizationally to heat and air condition all of our premises. So lots of opportunities there to play from a sustainability perspective with Ryerson. We have a Center for Elder Research, which has been in place in Oakville since the early 2000s. I'll speak for myself. I'll be very grateful for the research they're doing about how to make the lives of older Canadians more healthy and beneficial. So there is that piece, and we have a Center for Mobile Computing. We have the first degree in cybersecurity, which speaks very well to the innovation presence that we're looking to co-create with Ryerson and with the city. And last but not least, we have our Canadian Music Theatre project, which was the birthplace for the musical Come From Away, and will be the birthplace for many more artistic endeavors of that nature. And there's no reason that because that center is presently in Oakville that it stays there or that it's exclusively there. So we have heard over the last couple of days a fair amount of conversation about the desire and the readiness for some cultural pursuits in the context of innovation as much as other things. So we'll have to get jazzed on that proposition. So I just want to say that I know Sheridan has also a history with conversations with the Blue Ribbon panel, et cetera, about our aspirations. Sheridan is Sheridan, and we have a wide array of superb programs and a really special energy that is unique from my experience, which is it's a 40-year history, but I have a long experience in post-secondary in the GTA, and I'd say Sheridan is one of the most special places. Our intention is to work with Ryerson, to work with the city, and all of the industries with whom we have extensive relationships presently. Our intention is to work to make this something stellar, something that others in other communities and other post-secondary environments will come to learn from. So there will be learning pains, and there will be elbowing, and there will be chatter, because it will be something new that we haven't done before. But you have Sheridan's complete commitment to make sure that this works, and to work strongly with Ryerson and with the city to create something unparalleled. So too long on words, but hopefully long on optimism too. Thanks.
So, Mr. Chair, they are a hard act to follow, but I thought I did want to make it an opportunity for them to speak. We've talked on many occasions, and I appreciate all the time they spent today and in the months before and the months and years in the future that we'll be working together. They're terrific partners. I want to thank Rebecca Raven, CEO from the LeBrampton Library, for being here as well. She's put a lot of time into this relationship, and I know that the fruits of her labors will be in the design of what could be a truly spectacular facility in our downtown. I want to thank our staff. This has been a lot of long hours and work, and it's been more than 9 to 5, so thank you very much. I do start to hear a Scottish brogue coming out of the people on the team. I don't know where it's coming from, but thank you. You did a great job today. I know it's been a lot of work, so thank you very much, and thank you, Harry, for putting such a great team together. It shows. I guess the one thing I wanted to say, I heard some really thoughtful debate today from Council, and I want to give you my commitment that I will work on making sure that we accelerate the 1,000 students. You're absolutely right. That's not the place It may be the place we start, but it absolutely will not be where we end. We need to accelerate that. I would say there isn't anybody on the Blue Ribbon panel that believes 1,000 is the right place to start, and nor do our partners. So I will, you have my commitment to work on that. You have my commitment to work on increasing the funding. As many of you know, we did have that conversation with Minister Matthews, and we didn't get the answer we wanted, but we didn't get a no in other areas. So we can be creative about finding the ancillary dollars that will provide a great student experience for our future students. And we will also pursue those further conversations with Minister Baines, because I believe that there is an opportunity to bring a project forward with funding from the federal government that the province may fast track. So you have my commitment to work on that with you and to keep you abreast of where those conversations are going. This is a really important turning point for the city. I'm not going to give a speech about it. What I would like to do is to say that I'd like a recorded vote on this. And Mr. Chair, I think this is a really important issue for our residents. I think they care about it. And I want, in the interests of accountability and transparency, to propose that our next council meeting, when this decision is ratified, that we do it in the evening when our residents can be here. Just this portion. I'll leave it to the clerk as to how we can schedule that, but I think that it's important to do this publicly for the public that want to, and certainly we were very lucky today to have as many people as we did, but it's a work day, and I want to make sure that if people want to come, that they're able to come and speak to us, and I think a lot of people are going to be really pleased with the decision we make, but I thought this is one of those historic decisions that I think is appropriately done in the evening when more people can attend and participate if they want to, and give us their feedback. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll close my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'm told by the clerk that would be just a request for a special meeting for this item only. Okay, so that will be taken into account. If I can just say a few words, request that the chair be heard. Thank you, Councillor Willens. I just want to thank everybody for coming here today, especially the representatives from the university. Thank you very much. To the people who delegated, thank you very much for coming and delegating today. Thank you to council. We had almost a 2-hour wholesome, thoughtful, respectful debate today, and I think it was very, very helpful. As Madam Mayor says, this is a very, very big event. So with that, I thank you all. And just one special note, I guess, it's somebody's last day today. So Michelle will be leaving us today. Is it a secret where you're going, or?
Mr. Chair, no secret that my new boss is sitting right in the audience over here.
So thank you very much, Michelle. You've been a dynamo in moving this forward for us. We appreciate it, and I think all of us will miss the Scottish Brogue around City Hall, so thank you very much. So, thank you. So a recorded vote has been requested. We will do the delegations. Okay, so we received the presentation. We can do it all in one vote, can we not, Mr. Clerk? Okay, receive the delegations, receive the report, and receive the presentation. And a recorded vote has been requested. Councillor Dillon, I believe, did you want a recorded vote or a standing vote? I think this is a good standing vote. Thank you.
Members of committee, a recorded vote's been requested on the motion on the screen, as well as receiving the presentation, delegations, and correspondence. All in favor, please stand to be counted. Showing in favor is Mayor Jeffrey, Councillor Miles, Councillor Fortini, Councillor Medeiros, Chair Bowman, Councillor Dillon, Councillor Sprovieri, Councillor Palesci, Councillor Willens, Councillor Moore, and Councillor Gibson. Mr. Chair, that motion carries unanimously, 11-0.
Okay, thank you very much. We will move on. Is there any questions from council? I believe we had quite a few. Oh, we do. I know that Councillor Dillon would like to introduce somebody special who is in the audience today, so we'll let him do that, and then we'll move on to Councillor Gibson. So Councillor Dillon, go ahead.
Yeah, just very quickly, I'd just like to recognize a very special visitor we have today. Mr. Kanwar Sandhu is an MLA from Punjab. Punjab has a population of about almost 30 million, and he's one of 117 MLAs, and he's here visiting us. He wanted to get an understanding of how municipal politics works in Canada. So, Mr. Sandhu, thank you, and we welcome you to the City of Brampton. If you can just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Welcome. Councillor Gibson.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I didn't want to muddy the waters before we took the vote on the mayor's request to have a nighttime meeting. Can I humbly request that we make sure that everybody in this council can be there at that meeting? Because if the intent is next Wednesday night, I cannot be there. So this may delay off the final decision on this because we were scheduled to delay or to make the final decision next Wednesday. So I make that request that if the clerk's looking for some time, we all have to be able to be there. Otherwise, we just continue on to Wednesday?
Yes, Mr. Clerk?
Is that okay?
The clerk will canvass all the members to find a day suitable, so this will have to be moved off. Okay, okay.
It's just that because we're coming back now, we're busy. It may take a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I hope the mayor's aware of that. Thank you.
So, members of committee, sorry, as I was just advising the chair, the clerk's office will canvass all the members to see availability. I think the intent of the mayor's remarks was to have a special meeting next Wednesday night on this item, but if that's not possible, if quorum is an issue, members cannot attend, I believe the intent would be to deal with this item next week regardless during the regular meeting, because there is a time imperative for getting a council decision on the recommendation that just carried.
Okay. Councillor Miles?
Mr. Clerk, we do have an evening planning committee meeting next Monday night. So that might be, if we could combine a special council meeting with the planning committee meeting, we're here.
Through you, Mr. Chair, those are options that will be explored. The scheduled planning committee meeting next week has 6 statutory public notice items, so there is quite a hefty agenda on that. But we will look at those options, yes.
Everybody's sort of indicating it's good for them, so.
Yeah, let's move that.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Miles. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. With that, we will close off the economic development session. We will break for lunch 1 hour. Be back here at 1 o'clock for the continuation, and Councillor Miles will be the new chair. Oh, okay.